Chapter 17 Miracles. Now Naaman, captain of the host of the king of Syria, was a great man with his master, and honourable, because by him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. He was also a mighty man in valour, but he was a leper. And the Syrians had gone out by companies, and had brought away captive out of the land of Israel a little maid, and she waited on Naaman's wife. And she said unto her mistress, Would God my Lord were with the prophet that is in Samaria, for he would recover him of his leprosy? And one went in and told his lord, saying, Thus and thus said the maid that is of the land of Israel. And the king of Syria said, Go, and I will send a letter unto the king of Israel. And he departed, and took with him 10 talents of silver, and 6,000 pieces of gold, and 10 changes of raiment. And he brought the letter to the king of Israel, saying, Now when this letter is come unto thee, behold, I have therewith sent Naaman my servant to thee, that thou mayest recover him of his leprosy. And it came to pass, when the king of Israel had read the letter, that he rent his clothes, and said, Am I God to kill and to make alive, that this man doth send unto me to recover a man of his leprosy? Wherefore consider, I pray you, and see how he seeketh a quarrel against me. And it was so, when Elisha the man of God had heard that the king of Israel had rent his clothes, that he sent to the king, saying, Wherefore hast thou rent thy clothes? Let him come now to me, and he shall know that there is a prophet in Israel. So Naaman came with his horses and with his chariots, and stood at the door of the house of Elisha. And Elisha sent a messenger unto him, saying, Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean. But Naaman was wroth, and went away, and said, Behold, I thought he will surely come out to me, and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, and strike his hand over the place, and recover the leper. Are not Abana and Pharphar, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? May I not wash in them, and be clean? So he turned and went away in a rage. And his servants came near, and spake unto him, and said, My father, if the prophet had bid thee to do some great thing, wouldest thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he saith to thee, Wash and be clean? Then went he down, and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God, and his flesh came again like unto the flesh of a little child, and he was clean. 2 Kings 5, 1-14. The story here is a familiar one, and it is readily understood. A few details deserve additional attention. Naaman was an old Hebrew name, Numbers 26:40, and its feminine form is Naomi. Names readily cross borders at times. Naaman himself was a Syrian. Naaman was a pagan whom God had blessed. Quote, By him the Lord had given deliverance unto Syria. 2 Kings 5:1. God's providential government is no respecter of persons or boundaries, and his blessings too are extended to all. Syria, as a buffer state against Assyria, was blessed by God and used for his purposes. Naaman's leprosy was not sufficiently far gone to incapacitate him. Moreover, Syria lacked the quarantine laws which God had decreed through Moses. In Naaman's household, one young slave was a Hebrew girl, quite young, who had been taken in a Syrian raid into Israel. She was apparently well treated and felt no small concern for Naaman's welfare. She spoke of the power of Elisha to heal, and she longed to see Naaman avail himself of that power. Her comment was reported to the Syrian king, who greatly valued and honoured Naaman. Accordingly, he ordered Naaman to go to Samaria and to seek healing, and he sent a letter to the king of Israel to ask for this. His assumption was that Elisha would be an honoured part of the court, not an outsider and a stranger. Naaman took with him gold and silver, having a value in terms of 1950 of $80,000 and worth much, much more now. The clothing, too, was very valuable. The reaction of the Israelite king was one of shock and horror. He saw the letter as a provocation. It asked for a miracle as an excuse to wage war. Such pretexts were not uncommon. As H.L. Ellison pointed out, quote, An example of such methods is when Apepi, the last Hyksos pharaoh, picked a quarrel with his Theban vassal, by complaining that the roaring of the sacred hippopotami in Thebes was disturbing his sleep in Avaris, more than 300 miles to the north. End quote. Elisha, then in Samaria, immediately intervened to offer his help. When Naaman arrived, Elisha did not meet with him. So that the emphasis on healing would be God-centered, Elisha simply sent a message out to Naaman. The requirement was simple. Naaman must dip himself into the Jordan 7 times. Naaman, who expected a dramatic exorcism-like scene, was angry. His servants persuaded him that the important thing was to seek healing, not a dramatic formality. Naaman obeyed, and he was healed. The sevenfold bathing referred to the covenant of God with Israel. The number 7 signifies fullness and was common as a covenantal symbol. Naaman's healing was to be a covenant work, and Naaman was to be brought into the covenant. Israel was facing judgment, captivity, and destruction. Naaman's healing and conversion thus represented the forthcoming ingathering of all peoples into the covenant. We must turn again to the fact of miracles and their prevalence in the ministries of Elijah and Elisha. Miracles are not evenly distributed throughout biblical history. Generations and centuries pass at times without miracles, and then suddenly there are many of them. Thus, after centuries, miracles suddenly become dramatically prominent with Moses in Egypt. The 10 plagues were so great in scale that no one in Egypt could be ignorant of them. The significant fact is that these miracles were not only a mighty witness to and against Egypt, but also death for Egypt. Israel's wilderness journey after its deliverance from Egypt was attended by many miracles, including manna, which was a witness 6 days in 7 to God's miraculous power. The wilderness miracles witnessed against Israel to sentence a generation to die in the wilderness. The conquest of Palestine included major miracles as well, and the conquest was followed by defeat and judgment for a generation, as Judges makes clear. The age of Elijah and Elisha was a remarkable era of miracles, and it preceded the destruction of Samaria and Israel and marked the beginning of the Babylonian captivity. Judea then became witness to the greatest miracles, those performed by Jesus Christ, and the consequence was the destruction of Jerusalem and Judea. Miracles and judgment go together. When God manifests His power in miracles, 2 things, among others, become manifest. First, God's power enters history to alter something on the human scene, dramatically and clearly. This miraculous power is fruitless in that it does not change men's headlong quest for judgment and destruction. Our Lord says at the conclusion of the parable of Abraham, Lazarus, and the rich man in hell that, "If they hear not Moses and the prophets, neither will they be persuaded though one rose from the dead." Luke 16:31. Shortly before his crucifixion, our Lord resurrected the real Lazarus, who had been dead 4 days. John 11:39. Here was a man who could speak concerning heaven and witness to Christ's power. The response of the leaders to this was to plan our Lord's death. John 11:44-53. And the people cried out for Christ's crucifixion. John 19:6. The greatest miracle, Christ's resurrection, also brought no healthy response. Miracles precede judgments and witness to the stubborn and determined rebellion of men. Hence, as David says, "The fool hath said in his heart, there is no God." Psalm 14:1. The fools of every age are doomed men.